Thanks for joining us, by the way, guys. Thank you. It's appreciate it.
Yeah.
What have you let yourself in for?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Whatever. Right. All my buttons are pressed. Ready to go when you are.
How do?
Yeah, well, welcome to another episode of the RGM Experience podcast. It's the nights are drawing in, and I've got one of them circle lights. You know what, like pretty people on Instagram have. You know when? And I've just noticed that you can see it on my glasses. Look when I go like that.
You look like a proper influencer. It's fine. You can That's all right.
Just realised you see them, don't you, with one of them ring lights on them. Hi guys. Anyway, I digress. Hi guys, it's a brand new podcast. Welcome to the show, everybody. And here I am with Novustory in their own little studio. Hi guys, how you doing? You all right?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we're fantastic. Thanks.
Hey,
I feel like it's my squeaky chair off-putting, or can you not even hear it?
it's fine. I can't hear a note, pal. Can't hear a note.
Because to me, it's like someone screeching in my ear. So picked up.
Show us around then. Show us around then. Where are we?
Do you want to take him on a little trip, or is that gonna? We could just kind of swivel the
Yeah,
laptop.
yeah.
Oh, if it's gonna mess stuff up, don't worry. Just give us an introduction.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically,
Let's be honest.
yeah, we because we wanted to, do the band full time, and that's all we've always wanted to do. We were like, how can we set up a job that we enjoy, that we can drop at any moment to go on tours? So we started recording our own stuff, and I was doing bits of video, and we started in a shed behind your mum and dad's house, didn't we? And
Yeah,
we
weren't too happy about that for a little while.
I can
and
imagine.
we were getting bands into this tiny pokey little shed using a fisheye lens, so it looked massive online. And people would turn up and be like, "This is a fucking shed." So
It was great, wasn't it? Until we had like 4 guitarists sit on one guitar amp,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Yeah, maybe we need somewhere a little bit bigger."
So we teamed up with a guy called Pete in Blackburn, and we worked with him for a bit because he had a rehearsal studio. So we kind of just shared space. Soon realised that it wasn't for us in terms of needing to use the studio at the same time that he needed it and whatnot. So we signed the lease on this big ass room in Blackburn Town Centre on the 1st of March 2020, and then lockdown hit.
Oh yes.
So we were like, oh shit. And then, but it meant that actually we were able to spend that time when we would have been trying to get customers in and worrying about trying to get people and building around it. We were able to just spend lockdown kind of building the studio. We were recycling things, upcycling things, getting stuff off Facebook Marketplace, like finding things for free, finding stuff that people didn't want anymore.
You won't believe how much stuff
people
just
chuck
like
stuff
get
away.
rid of.
We got sofas, we got chairs, we got flooring, like all sorts of stuff just for free, and then really cheap and stuff like that. And we've managed to build something that, we're getting clients from like London, and like we've just coaxed people into working with us. We don't know how it's happened.
It was one of them, when we were building it, we were like, we'll try and make it dead nice and dead comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if we can get some decent clients in. And we've been pretty shocked with the response.
Yeah,
haven't we?
we've had audio books for people who are working with the BBC, and we've done stuff for ITV, and we've done stuff for Love Island and Just Eat. So all from this little studio in the centre of Blackburn. So yeah. Enough about us. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm enjoying the background. If you're listening to this podcast on the audio version through Spotify and Apple Music and all that shit, just have a look at the YouTube one. It's a proper studio. Well done.
Yeah, thank
Proud of you. Well, I first came across you guys when we reviewed the band a bit ago for RGM, and then Imogen sent this emotional video over thanking us for it, which introduced me to you as a personality, Imogen.
Yeah, we're sorry about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think partly after that, you were proper on my radar, because I just thought you were funny. I thought there was something about you. I thought you were passionate about what you were doing, and they're all the kind of things that I look for to support more bands like you guys, because it's hard out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful. Like, there's so much competition. I know you shouldn't say competition, but there is, because you're all kind of fighting for the same festival slots and interview slots.
Because you've got to look at it as a business, innit? And that's the difficult thing. Like, when you've worked on something that you love, and you've spent every waking moment trying to get better or something, it's then really difficult to turn the emotional side off and switch the business side on.
Yeah.
But I think like the better people become at doing that, the more successful it is, or the easier it becomes then to push your band, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's go. Yeah, well, let's go back a little bit. So, introduce us to yourselves if people are new to you as a band. Introduce us to you individually, and what is your music history for you both? Like, how did you get into this fucking crazy world of music?
So we are Novustory,
Yeah.
not Novustory or Novustory.
I wore the right jumper. You're proud.
There you go.
You repping our merch. Yeah, we're Novustory. We've been a band now for 6 years, which makes me feel well old because I thought we'd be well famous after like a year. And
we were like after 6 months we're going to be in Wembley.
Yeah.
Like this is it, like, we've got this. So 6 years later,
a couple of EPs and stuff, and then we changed our sound a little bit. We've gone for more. We call ourselves alt rock because we are a little bit. We're rocky, but we're a bit poppy, and you know we're inherently alt rock. So yeah, we
because we can't make our minds up basically.
No, sometimes we want to make rock bangers, but we also listen to Justin Bieber on the sly. So it's like trying to find that perfect balance, you know, between like Demi Lovato and Royal Blood.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we've never plugged money and stuff into PR, and we were saying that we were going to do it on our own, and we never wanted to do Facebook sponsored ads, and we never wanted to do YouTube adverts, anything like that, and we were never going to get a record label and all that stuff. And then it's kind of the more you go at it, the more you realize actually it's quite difficult to do everything about all those things. So we still haven't ventured as far as like Facebook ads and stuff like that, but we've bagged ourselves a record deal in
time that.
I know, yeah.
Paying Facebook money for stuff, it don't. I flirted with it on some certain posts for RGM, and I just didn't get anything back from it. And I don't know if I were doing it wrong because it's quite a complicated system. Yeah. Facebook's a shitty system to use. It's for the biggest website in the world.
Yeah.
So shitty to use.
It's like you've got to keep paying then to get your reach. But I think we've kind of managed to get quite good reach on our socials and stuff. But yeah, over lockdown, we managed to get our first record deal, which then led to us, getting our first lot of management. We're potentially, it's not been announced yet, but I don't know when this has come out, it might do, but we're looking at a booking agent, and it all seems to have happened at once now. Like,
yeah, but let's slow down a little bit. How did you get into music?
I need to tell you everything all at once.
You've got all the time in the world. What got you individually into music? Like even before the band? When you were little babies and that, what age were you when you thought music's for me and that's the way I want to go?
Well, my mum got me into learning the clarinet, and I just never looked back. So 8 years old, Bernice the clarinet, because obviously all the cool kids name their instruments. So I had Bernice the clarinet, and yeah,
and you didn't introduce yourself either.
I don't know. I'm Imogen.
Okay.
I'm the one.
I bet.
I scream. I'm the one who screams my feelings at the front of the band.
Did you ever play the saxophone as well then?
I got a saxophone for Christmas one year, learned how to play Pink Panther, and then never touched it again.
Oh, okay. Because the clarinet and the saxophone, if people don't know, are similar instruments, aren't they? They're just they're just different colours, and I believe so. The fingering and everything is that right?
I don't know how accurate that is, like 100%. But
right, okay, I'll shut up then about that. So you got your clarinet, and then what?
My mum's a musician. She's always done music. So I grew up in like a house where I'd be trying to sleep at 10 a.m. on a Sunday, and there'd be like trumpet fanfares going off and stuff like that. And like she's really good at piano and flute, and she's the multi-instrumentalist. She sings and
that makes it sound like she literally just like used to play.
Oh no, she has pupils.
Yeah, she's a teacher.
Yeah,
you made it sound like she just did it for fun, just to wake everybody up.
She just does it to wind people up. She just does like mad trumpet solos when we're all trying to sleep. It's 3 a.m. Melanie, calm down.
My dad used to play the cornet when I was a kid, the little trumpety thing. So I hear where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. You?
Yeah.
So I'm James, or Ducky, as some people.
Everyone knows you're Ducky.
Everyone knows.
Okay, okay, we'll go with Ducky then.
All 10 of our fans know Ducky.
And I started drumming when I was 6, but I actually wanted to play guitar.
Mm.
But the only guitar lessons that they had at my school were for acoustic guitar, and we physically couldn't find a guitar small enough for me
Oh.
because like my arm wouldn't reach over the
Oh,
top.
okay.
Believe it or not, because I'm a proper lanky fucker now. But but yeah, like we. I remember talking to my parents about it, and they were like, "Right, we'll get you drum lessons then," which was like brave. But my uncle was a drummer, so that.
Oh, I bet they were buzzing. You chose drums.
and then yeah, they were like, "Right, we'll get you drum lessons for 6 months, and if you stick at it, then we'll buy you a drum kit." So I was like, "Oh right, well, you know, I'm going to do it." So literally every night for like 6 months, I went home and I got the pots and pans out of the kitchen drawer and like wooden spoons, and that's like, yeah, I used to like practice on them to like get the coordination down, and I just kind of went from there.
You can see, children pick up instruments when they're little, and then it's okay for a few years and things, but there's something about certain personalities that stick with music and decide to do it as a career.
Psychopaths.
Well, everybody's kind of damaged in the music industry a little bit, in the nicest possible way of saying it. There's something wrong with us all, I think, and I'm including myself in that. And when I don't really mean wrong. I just mean there's a different type of mentality. There's more.
Yeah.
What am I trying to say?
It takes a special type of person to fail that many times at that many things to keep going.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, so people who actually genuinely like end up in a career in music, to be that determined and persistent at something that keeps upsetting you, you've got to have serious mental health issues.
Yeah, I think like for me, like some of the darkest times in my life, I've gone to the drum kit and nothing else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's a form of therapy as well, isn't it?
Same with songwriting. It's like I can't write happy songs, can I? I've literally wrote a song that's the most happy song we've got that's called I Don't Write Happy Songs. There's something, do you know, like,
and even that's got a bit of a dark edge to it.
I'm gonna mention them just because they're on my mind at the moment because I love the songs. But do you know what? You've heard Lottery Winners, right? So every single song,
I've had them on the podcast.
Like every single song is like a pure, unadulterated, like happy anthem, and they're all like cute, sweet lyrics, feel good, positive lyrics. And every time I try and write something like that, it just ends up even more depressing. Like all of our songs are like really sad.
You're selling this to people who haven't.
So if you don't like happy stuff, listen to our tunes.
Why do you think that is?
Because I'm just
because anyone that wrongs Imogen either gets an email or a song written about them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So do you self-medicate really in your music, in your lyrics?
Yeah,
anyway?
technically, yeah. I like that. I'm going to turn that into a lyric.
Yeah.
Self-medication. And that is exactly how all of our songs sound. So if you liked that, head on over to our Spotify, YouTube, all that.
Well, I've heard Bad Tattoo, and and I've been enjoying that. So it is on. If you're looking for some new music, you can listen to the RGM Spotify playlist, and it's right up there in the top 10. So if you're looking to branch out, listen to the I can't talk tonight. What am I on about? Spotify playlist. Fucking hell. It's one of them nights, isn't it? So yeah, so you're both grown up now. You're out there in the big old world. You've got your own studio. Young Ducky and young Imogen are out there. You've started in this journey in the music industry, and you've ended up getting one of those record deals, which to some people can feel like the holy grail. Historically, it's been a massive thing for bands, but more recent, it's sometimes not really made that much of a difference to some bands getting a record deal. What does a record deal mean to you guys?
So to us, we were like really adamant that we didn't want to. I'm gonna say this for the Spotify versions of this podcast now. We didn't want to sign our lives away. That's in inverted commas. So we didn't want to basically be the ones creating all the music and then signing away all the rights to it and that kind of thing. And you hear horror stories, and I know like a lot of bands that I'm either friends with or I follow online. I feel like so many of them who've been signed have been dropped under like horrendous circumstances, or they signed up to something and didn't read a contract properly, or they didn't you know, they weren't happy with the terms, but they did it anyway, and then it wasn't what they expected. And we were always adamant that we weren't going to sign anything. But we were approached by John from Regent Street Records, and the label was founded by a woman who wanted to run like an ethical label where the artist is the one who benefits, basically. And that was kind of her vision for it, because she'd been fucked over as an artist. So she built up the record label to nurture, and all we've seen so far is that is exactly what the label's about. So the percentages and stuff that we have to hand over or whatsoever are significantly lower than like what is considered to be the standard if you look online and stuff like that. And when we got the contract through, we sent it off to the musicians union and stuff like that to check over, make sure we weren't going to get caught out by anything. We literally worked with John and spoke to him about what we're expecting, what he's expecting, and like whatnot. So the whole thing has been really like felt like a nurturing experience rather than like we're handing over all of this. And once we were with him, he then helped us find a manager who was really like kicked us into shape.
Just before you move on, the thing about the record label, I think it's also important about your mindset as well.
Because
we've always been like, I've been in bands in the past where the attitude was, oh, if we get signed by a record label, happy days, like we'll just let them take care of everything, then we can just chill out and do whatever the hell we want. And I think that's an image that record labels sell to music fans to make bands seem more rock and roll.
Yeah.
But actually, from what I've seen from like the bands that are doing the best, you know, like bands like Lottery Winners and you know, loads of other bands that are doing really cool stuff, they're working their asses off behind the scene.
Yeah, like the hard work starts when you get signed.
Yeah.
Like that's how it felt for us. Like,
oh yeah, like our workload like tripled.
Yeah. But there's like, I feel like how much people see online at the moment and like how few songs we actually have, because I'm fully aware that we're a rock band who never release music, for crying out loud. Like for how long we've been in a band, it feels like we've not got any music out, but we're sat on so many demos, aren't we, and so many songs, and like so we're sat on music videos that just need to be sorted out. Like we've got,
there's a plan, isn't there?
Yeah.
And this is
2022. You heard it here first.
And this,
the year of Novustory.
And this is the thing, innit? And it's like, this is why having a label and a manager is really important to us. Is because we have a million ideas, don't we? And we get very excited about them, and we kind of let our excitement run away with us sometimes. And it's good to have some people there that just kind of bring us back in line a little bit and just go, look, guys, like, this is what you should be focusing on now, so then we can do this later and all that kind of stuff.
It's like our manager Josh has basically reined us in and gone, right, you've got 100 ideas, pick one of them and think of the logistics. So
what were the record company's expectations of you, and what were your expectations of them?
Like they wanted us to write bangers, and we wanted them to push our bangers.
Make us famous.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's still kind of developing, isn't it, in terms of their expectations of us.
Well,
it's a relationship that's going to change over time as well, isn't it? And develop, and different things are going to come up. And
and we said right from the off that like we're very much about like the symbiotic relationship. Like I don't like, and I speak for the rest of the band when I say this. Like we don't really care if people are making money out of us, if we're making money too. But it's got to be like a decent.
That sounds so selly out here. I think I'm going to word it in like a slightly better way. There were certain areas of our music. Sorry, what I believe to be a slightly better way. I'm just going to trample all over James and his opinion. Just 1 second to do that. So the logic that we had was there were areas where we were making zero, and if say for instance the label wanted a 20% cut of something, we were currently making 100% of nothing, so it's better to make 80% of something. So that's what we were saying.
That's what,
Yeah. So I'm sorry for trampling over you, but
right.
you know,
that's what I was trying to say.
What I have to say is more important.
Oh, you are.
I'm kidding.
Put it in a song.
I'm not a massive narcissist, I promise.
So the working relationship continues with the label. It sounds like a healthy one. It sounds like you've picked a belter of a label as well. You know,
Yeah,
an
it is.
ethical record label. Jesus
I
Christ.
know, funk it.
Yeah.
So yeah, management then next. So management. So what did the manager? I like sharing. You know, there's a lot of bands that listen to this podcast, and they listen to it because they're after tips and they want to, you know, learn about the industry and the pitfalls of it, the good things, the bad things, that kind of stuff. With the manager, how have they helped you navigate your way through this industry as well?
So we basically had them as almost like a, do you know, like a business consultant, a
Good
business.
effort.
God, that's it. I'm never gonna live it down now.
No.
The way
no,
I
that's
pronounce
it.
consultant.
Yeah.
So
That's gonna get screen grabbed and shared everywhere.
can't
now.
wait,
Well
can't wait for the remix, James. So do you know, like a business consultant will come into a business and just kind of tell them everything they're doing wrong?
Yeah.
That's what Josh from Crosstalk did with us. Josh kind of came in and was like,
just looked at it all and went.
well, he basically
"Fucking hell, guys."
he came in and said, like, you've got no brand, like you've got, and however much you want to just believe that, like, you got no fans. He just said, like, you've got no branding, like you've got all your Instagrid is all over the place, man. Like, we had no kind of cohesive. Our logo was different on different items of merch, and our colours were different on everything. My hair's changing every 5 minutes. Like, all of our stuff was just like, and then one thing that I didn't even realise, bearing in mind at this point we've been a band for like 5 years, like you look at our socials, all the profile pictures were different, all the bios were different. You go on TikTok, it says we're like an alt rock band with whatever, but then you go on Twitter and it says we're from Blackburn. Then you go on Facebook and it was like rock band from Manchester, and then it was like Instagram was pop rock band from, and
we had 3 different hometowns on 3 different
like
platforms.
different like, but when you're so close to it, like I considered myself to be incredibly savvy with the socials, and Josh came in and was like, why the fuck have you done this? And I was just like, but I strongly recommend, if you're in a band, like go and look at your profiles and just see what's cohesive, because like people get to know you and your profile picture and stuff like that over time across socials.
Try if you can as well to have the same at for each individual platform, because it's nothing more annoying for a magazine.
Yeah.
And I've had to do this, I don't know, probably a million times, where you've had to try and find somebody's at so you can tag them into a post to share the music or whatever.
Yeah.
And they've got a completely different handle for Twitter, for Instagram, for TikTok, for everything. It's try and use the same one. It helps people help you further down the line.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Because it just, how come if people can't find you, they can't push you as much. I've done it before where if I can't find someone and I'm sharing a gig poster and I can't find the band and I don't find them on the first couple of tries, I just don't find them.
This isn't a comment on like anyone specific, but like I think it was something that Josh said to us, like, you've got to make everything moron proof. Like if you want to pull like and it's the same when you're working with the general public, like in any job. I'm sure there's people watching this who like work in retail and stuff like that, and they'll all know this. If you haven't made something moron proof, it will just confuse people.
Yeah.
Because when people are trying to like, they're in a bit of an Instagram flow and they're just flying through it and liking stuff, you've got to be able to like not interrupt that flow so much, so then they can find everything that you want them to find dead easy. Because if there's one thing that interrupts that flow, then they'll just go somewhere else. Even
if you're advertising a gig or something and you put ticket link in biography, that's still too much for some people to make your way to your profile to click on that other link. You have got to make it more on proof, and you've got to just point. And if you look at the RGM socials, I point at where to press it because of that, because I want to make it as easy as possible for people to know where to go, because you have to these days. I don't know what it's probably a short attention span, and people are just flicking through everything just like you do. And you have to be like, you have to have big flashing lights and big point at this thing and press this button for me, please, because they're not going to if they're just scrolling through as normal, are they? So that's a great tip.
You basically got to do everything short of actually doing it for them.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
That's basically what Josh has come in and done. Like, helped us kind of create a bit more of an image for ourselves. And
And then
like,
let's
you
have a look.
basically, like,
Let's have a look at your socials then. Where are we starting from?
oh God, you're about to rip
I'm only
this new
joking.
one.
I'm only joking.
But yeah, it was kind of like just like picking like almost like a bit of a color scheme, and
Yeah.
It's just branding 101, isn't it? Really, like,
Yeah.
and that was the thing that we struggled with, because like, again, and this is why having a manager or a label or someone, even just someone that understands business in general, have like an outside point of view on your band is really useful, because
especially a critical one, because like the people who follow us because they like us, or like our families and stuff, they're not going to come in and say you're doing this wrong. They're going to tell us all the stuff we're doing right, so we have no idea. But a manager is there to kind of improve you and make you better and whatnot. They both, John and Josh, have both come in and basically gone, you're doing this wrong, this is what you need to do. But then it's made us be more self-critical, so I'm like proofreading stuff a lot more, and like basically applying the moron rule to everything. Like, could anyone understand this?
And like the thing about like we're keeping each other's standards high and all that kind of stuff, and you don't want to let someone else on the team down. Actually, something that I found really difficult was I always thought I was quite good at taking criticism. and then
you're about as good at that as I am.
and then they came in and they started pointing stuff out, and I was like, well, I'd like to see you but do it better. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, they're saying this to help me. Like, whatever I think now is kind of null and void because someone else has pointed out a flaw in it.
Feedback is a gift.
Yeah, it's like an ego thing,
it?
Totally.
Where you get stuck in your ways, and then it almost feels like an insult when someone's trying to help. But so it's been a learning curve in that sense, because there have been a few things that I've done one way for so long, and then Josh, our manager's come in and been like, yeah, you need to stop doing that. And I've been like, well, I've done like even just like little things like signing off all of our posts. He drew my attention to the fact that could be really annoying for people.
What do you mean? What signing off? What do you mean?
Always put in lots of love at the end of every single social media post, like lots of love from DUCKY, Ben and Blank, Novustory, kiss, 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 kiss. Like he brought it to my attention that was potentially one of the least cool things I could be doing, and that it would also be quite irritating. It also adds more characters to the post, so people are more likely to scroll. It's just little things like that.
Yeah.
Like just making very aware of how like uncool and dorky
and we're all now incredibly self-conscious about everything we do.
It's ruined us. Our mental health is in the bin because of our manager.
So the team's building nicely around you then, and you're announcing the what was the other one?
Oh, potentially a book agent.
Yeah, so I've been working with a vocal coach as well. We've been working with a producer. So we're just building this little team of people, like in the hope that we.
What do publicists sort out for you then? What do they do?
What does what?
What do the publicists do? What's their role?
Producer. Sorry, did I say publicist? I meant producer.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay. So right. Okay. So the producer comes in, so they're only going to give you feedback, and they're going to have their own views on how things are going. So how are you dealing with that?
That was really tough again, because we'd like self-recorded for years.
Yeah, we make our living at the moment, because everything we make as a band goes back into the band. So our living at the moment is just recording people in here. So for someone to come in to our, because basically like he came to our studio, it's Cecil, Adam Cecil Bartlett, but we call him Cecil, and he's worked with like Nothing But Thieves and Biffy Clyro and all sorts of like much bigger bands than us. Like we were scum probably, like in comparison to the other bands he's worked with. But he came into our studio.
We were a pity band.
Yeah, it was a pity band. But it was his community service work, wasn't it? Like, he basically he worked with us as part of like a Make-A-Wish kind of foundation thing. But he came into the studio and basically told us everything that was fucking like wrong with the studio as well. So he made us spend £500 on cables.
He didn't make us. It was like
he gave us no choice, James.
It was one of those things like. But this is the thing. I think this is really important as well for like. I wish I'd have known this sooner. So he came in and he was like, "Oh, why have you got it set up like this?" And I was like, "Because it made sense to us." And he was like, yeah, no, do it like this, because that you know, like, this is how they do it in most of the big studios on the planet, like Abbey Road and places like that. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to do it like that. And then he turned around and said, you don't have to change it if you don't want to. It's your studio at the end of the day. And past me would have gone, oh, he said it's optional. Like, I
Yeah, you did.
my balls to it. I won't do it. But this time we were like, no, he's pointed something out. We've got to change it for next time he comes back. And we did do, didn't we? So we spent 500 quid on just cables.
It killed me inside. You can't even see them. They're in the fucking wall.
Oh,
Cables you can't even look at. I can't even touch them.
It's like getting your roof fixed on your house, isn't it? It's something. It's right. It's the right load of money, and it's right boring thing to have to spend money on.
No, insulation or something.
yeah.
Like, we did that, didn't we? And then he came back, and as soon as you walked through the door, he went, "Oh fucking hell, you did it!" And we were like, "Yeah." So like straight away, he was in like, do you know what I mean? He knows that we listen to his advice and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes that can be the difference between like getting a gig and not getting a gig, or something like that. You know.
Well, I've seen you've been on the road with Hands Off Gretel. You played a few gigs with them. Look at it.
Sorry, they cut out a little bit then.
Oh yeah, sorry. You've been on the road and you've had a few gigs with Hands Off Gretel recently.
Yeah. So
I've known Lauren from my Sheffield days. I've known her since she was even before she started with the band and that kind of stuff. Really talented people. What have you learned from those guys?
I've learned that bugging people really works. Annoying people also work. No,
annoying them into submission.
Yeah, no. Basically, what it is I've always wanted to play with them because I thought they're alternative as well, and they're quirky and that kind of thing. And I thought their crowd, I've always thought like their crowd could be our crowd kind of thing, like without sounding like a fan poacher. But you know what I mean? Like I thought that they'd like our style of music as well, and I've always like kind of liked and supported their posts and their socials and things like that. And I messaged Lauren and I invited her to the studio. I said, if you want to do like a little like a cover together or something like that, like let me know, like we can just come over and like do like an acoustic thing or whatever you want to do. And I didn't expect her to reply, but this was a couple of months ago, she got back in touch and said, I'm a bit too busy at the moment, understandable, because she's got a Delilah Bond project and stuff like that. But so I'm a bit too busy. But like, thanks so much. I
don't know how 24 hours a day is enough for that girl.
I know, literally. But yeah, so and then I messaged back saying, yeah, no worries at all, and also like long shot. But if you ever want us to support you at a gig, I'd absolutely love to. I've followed you for years, and if anyone ever lets you down, just know that we'll be there. And she didn't reply, but I thought I've left that as my like parting piece. Yes. And then like a week before they gigged in Birmingham at the O2 Academy, they emailed us and said the band that was supposed to be supporting us have like disbanded and they only just told us like, are you free? And we were like, fuck yeah, we're free. Like, so yeah, she thought of us, and then we played that gig, and then once we played that gig, they were like, okay, that was great. Do you want to come and support us again in December? So now we're supporting them again in London at Novustory. And I'm pretty sure that's, if it's not sold out, it's like close to selling out. And they've just added Scarlett as well, which is another band that I've always wanted to gig with.
Scarlett. Love Jessie, met her a few times.
She's awesome.
One of my favourite humans in the world, that girl.
Literally, like I got, as soon as I saw that they were announced as well, I messaged her like, oh my God, we're finally going to get together. And she was like, I know, we're going to fucking get together. Like, it's just like, we've always said we work well together, and now we're finally gigging together. And it's all, so we've been doing some gigs. We're doing another gig with them, and then we're working with Marisa and the Moths, who again, we invited them to the studio to do a cover. They came, we did a cover with them, and then they asked us to come on tour with them. So we're doing 5 dates with them. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like at the moment we're getting some like really nice.
Bang Bang Romeo as well. You played with them.
Yeah, no, literally. And again, that was another one. I covered them, and then they asked us to support them. So I think it takes so much more than, for all those bands listening out there, if you're trying to go down the DIY route, it takes so much more than just like sending an inbox saying, hi, please can I support you? It takes like kind of consistency and persistence and like, you know, going the extra mile. Like inviting to collab and like covering songs and stuff like that. I feel like that's definitely been, every time I think of like the juicy support slots that we've had or the good things that we've done as a band, it's always been where we've been like the solution to a problem, or they've picked us because we treated them well.
I'm convinced this industry is run off favors. Like the more that we like.
I think you're right. I agree. Yeah.
And it's like
hustle.
And it's like
big hustle. You fake it till you make it. It's a big hustle. It's a big world of bullshit, and you just have to blag it.
Yeah. That is our band motto, isn't it?
And I feel like the more positive energy you put out into the industry, the more positive energy you get back. Like there are some people who, you know, like, because like, I mean, I've been there. You know, like you work your ass off and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, and then you get a little bit downtrodden and a bit grumpy about the whole thing, and all of a sudden no one wants to work with you because you're just this grumpy, miserable git that no one can get along with. But like the more you're putting out these positive vibes and all that kind of shit, then the more you're getting them back, and the more people kind of want to hang out with you.
We should do motivational speeches.
Oh hell yeah!
We should go into schools and like teach all the kids like how to be inspired.
Can you imagine? We'd come out of that being dead pumped, and everyone else would just be like, "What the hell just happened?"
Fuck have I just witnessed? These two fucking love themselves.
So a few more gigs till the end of this year, and then 2022. That's the year, isn't it? Next year, 2022, is going to be a massive one because you've got all these things lined up.
We've got loads of stuff lined up.
Yeah.
Things we've not announced any of it, so I feel like this next few weeks I've got loads of like covers that I've recorded that I'm going to post, and we've just got another endorsement with an amp company from Belgium who build like custom boutique amps. Don't roll me out the way so you can show him the amp.
How gorgeous does that look?
That is nice.
I feel like you need
I have no idea what it does. I presume it just makes things louder.
Yeah, but
okay.
Very pretty.
It's stunning. We sent them a photo of the studio and they customized it to fit perfectly. So it's like all weed, and any amp nerds out there, you'll just check Invaders out. You'll love it.
But it's amazing. But they've sent us that, so now we're just basically making videos, playing with that, and we've just been like, not just been, but we were endorsed by SE as well. So we've been trying out their mics and we're using them right now. SE, if you're watching this, we'll tag you in. So it's like we're just kind of making loads of content at the moment that isn't releases, so that we can give people lots of stuff to watch and whatnot. And then 2022. Loads of music,
it's gonna
loads
be
of videos, loads of fun ideas.
Yeah, it's going to be a year of firsts for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any festival organisers out there and they're short on females to put on their lineups, what about Novustory? What about Hands Off Gretel? What about Scarlet? What about Bang Bang Romeo?
That's the age-old fucking question, isn't it? Because everyone goes, "Oh, there's not enough women making music," and it's like, "You're not fucking looking for us. I'm screaming it."
Yeah.
I've been trying to get on festivals for fucking years. I'm like, every year we apply, every year we never hear anything back. Like we did Liverpool Sound City once, but that's like after I did like a 10-week course, got a Gold Arts Award with Liverpool Sound City training program and stuff. So I think they put us on as like a city thing. Like, again, just people feel sorry for us, so they just put us on stuff. But no, festivals are so hard to get on, and I just don't know. I don't know how people do it.
This is the problem. Currently, we don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. If you look at the people who do know and areas that we've managed to land some decent stuff in, it's and again, like I was just saying, like the whole industry is just set up off favors and people you know, and that's why being nice to people really counts, because there are some people that we know who have. I'm not saying all bands are like this, but I know some bands that have friends at festivals, you know, like stage managers and all that kind of stuff, and they get some really cool, they get some really cool festival slots, and look, like, good on them, like, because they've earned it, because they've been nice to that person. Do you know what I mean?
Take advantage of that, of course you would.
Yeah, like, good on them. But we're getting stuff that they can't get because they've not got friends in. So that's why it's also good to be nice to other bands and get on with other bands, because then you can start friend swapping, and then that's how we can help each other at this small level get some, really good deals on equipment or, festival slots or anything like that. It's It's all symbiotic, isn't it?
I feel like
Word
a
of
lot
the
of
week.
bands as well, and again, this goes out to any bands listening. Like a lot of bands are quite like protective over their contacts or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like
Okay.
all we've ever done with ours is kind of put people forward for stuff, like, because it ultimately, like how many people have we put forward to a media, like Alex and Media and like Balbec Sticks and stuff. Like we're always recommending people like get in touch and like tagging people and not making it so small that people can't then find out who they are on Instagram and all that stuff. Like I think it pays
Yeah, the love.
to pardon.
Pays to share the love, doesn't it?
Yeah, literally. Because what goes, I do feel like what goes around comes around. Because then people think about you when they've got, you know, like an opportunity that they could like help you out with. So yeah, do we sound really like manipulative now? Like we're really nice people, but only because we want things.
No, it's all back to the business side of the industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've got to train yourself a certain way to be resilient enough to even think about continuing in it. 'Cause if you think about it too much, then you'll just send mental, won't you?
Oh, yeah.
Or if you worry over missed opportunities, or if you see another band that gets that festival slot and you didn't, and it starts eating at you, you just have to be a certain kind of person and know you're building a team around you. Everything's from my point of view, you're doing everything like that you should be doing. You're doing everything possible to succeed in the hardest industry in the world, the music industry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be proud of yourselves, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we always say that nothing's wasted.
Yeah.
Like if we could do something that goes completely tits up, but it's not a waste of money or time or anything like that because we've learned from it. And like everything that we've done in the past, we try and carry with us when we're moving forward, and we're trying to, you know, like use it to our advantage as well. And then that way, it means that if we do end up stranded in France again, then it makes the blow a little bit easier.
Well, do you know what I've been wasting a lot of time on recently?
Netflix, like me.
TikTok.
Oh, fucking hell.
Wow.
It's so addictive. They've designed it to suck us in.
I've been watching people get ready for work. People have decided to go live, haven't they? It's a thing now, isn't it? Let's go live on TikTok. And the most mundane people doing the most mundane things, just getting the food ready for the kids and answering questions on this like live feed thing. It's getting on my nerves, but I'm enjoying it at the same time, and I can't get my head around why I enjoy it so much.
I spent about half an hour watching a guy put rubber bands on a watermelon.
Yeah. It's terrible. Like I do this thing as well with TikTok. I'll have been on it for like a couple of hours in the evening, and then 5 hours in the evening, and then at the point where I'm like, right, I'm gonna watch one more really good one, and then I'm gonna go to bed. And then I'll keep scrolling, and I find a really good TikTok, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm fucking enjoying myself. I'm gonna keep going. So then I end up just sat in this cycle of waiting for a really good one, watching a really good one, then waiting for another really good one, and so addictive.
It's the danger of the never-ending scroll, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, these people I think in their own head, they're like, this is like my chance for fame a little bit.
Yeah.
There's just a few hundred people that are watching them, so it must be, it must be good on the old ego to think that a couple of hundred people are watching you while you're making your sandwich before you go to work. There's only a certain amount of time that's gonna stay successful, surely.
Yeah.
Surely.
I think a lot of it is though, like there's a lot of very, very, very hot people being exposed via TikTok who aren't necessarily like. That's
the bad side of it. There's a lot of like under it. Like I don't follow girls on it.
Yeah.
But if anybody goes on TikTok, the algorithm. And I don't know how it all works, but there's a lot of young girls dancing about on it, like which for a bloke of my age is not right to be watching. I don't think.
Kind of like just quick scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my dad downloaded it, didn't he? And he said it's dead weird because like when he first downloaded it, it's like the default setting was like you said, like young girls dancing, and now he's been on it for a bit. All he gets is like tractors getting
It's
bogged down in
fully
fields.
Yes, you need to work through the algorithm. Well, you can't. I was in the pub over there because none of my mates are on TikTok, right? And I just showed them and said, "Well, there's loads of music thing because my algorithm's music and musicians because I'm following a lot of them." And then you start getting people dancing about, and then you get somebody going live that's talking about the sandwich, and then it's just I don't know. It's a strange place, that place, but you've got over 40,000 people following you. So what are you doing so well at?
It's the ADHD platform of the internet, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
Okay.
TikTok, to have a successful platform,
Mm.
you need to have a niche, right? And there's bands like Crawlers from Liverpool who you must have seen on TikTok. I'm presuming, but they've they've got, I think they've got like 400,000
Wow.
followers now, and it's because their niche is we're a rock band from Liverpool, and every video relates back to that. You go on our TikTok, right?
and it's a mess.
And it's fucking, it's James.
I enjoy it. I do enjoy it.
Me dyeing my hair, me doing my makeup, him doing his makeup, trying to do like acoustic videos, and then like filming rehearsals, and then look at the studio, or I'm making a sandwich. Like we've got no niche, and I just think
it is a perfect representation of our personalities though,
Yeah,
in that form, because like we do something completely different every day.
no,
don't we?
definitely.
It's really creative when you clap and then you're both there in your makeup and you're looking good. And it's just amazing, isn't it? It's just like it's really creative.
Oh, it's not-
Yeah, you can't do it now.
No, you still got
Sorry,
to
guys. As if you fucking said that.
I think I'm presuming. Yeah, so yeah, well, I think that's one thing we need to buckle down on, is like buckle down on a niche, like pick something, i.e. being a rock band, and then like focus on that rather than all the me doing makeup transformations and all that shite, because everyone's doing that. Not everyone's in a rock band.
No.
I think that's quite
What was
cool.
that? What was that actually? That just reminded me. What's that thing? So when we were doing up the studio, because we did it over lockdown, and there's some toilets down the corridor, aren't there, that were like they hadn't been painted since like the 70s, so they're all like different shades of grey.
Damien Keys, yeah.
Damien Keys, like he was basically on like a top 10 tips or whatever. I was painting the bathroom in like bright orange and bright purple and all these ridiculous colours to cover up the fact it was this scabby 70s cream paint. And I was listening to his video, and one of the tips was, as a musician, whatever you're doing is still more interesting than what the majority of people might be doing on a day-to-day basis. And what he meant by that was you playing with your instrument to people who aren't playing an instrument is interesting. So you thinking you're not interested is doing yourself a disservice.
Or anything in the background of that. Even just like buying some new strings for your guitar is like more
interesting than kind of, like for a lot of people, like some people love this job and that's fine, but some people have like desk jobs that they don't enjoy. So to then go on the internet and see someone like playing with a guitar or singing is kind of more enjoyable than we think it is when we're posting it. But I was sat there fucking painting the bathroom thinking, well, what I'm doing is not fucking interesting. Why should I document this? But then I was like, hang on, I'm painting the bathroom of a fucking recording studio that we built together during lockdown that we are now like working from full time. That is actually quite cool.
Yeah.
So I did a post about it and it did really fucking well.
It did do really well.
but yeah, it's like, I think we take for granted like the fact that the things that we are doing on a daily basis are quite interesting. Like it's Friday
and
now.
That's anyone in music, whether you're working in music full time or not. Because like I was in a shed for 6 years before Imogen kind of joined me, and I was rehearsing all the time, and I was like trying to figure out how to build my own little home studio setup and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't take a single photo of any of it.
Yeah.
Or a single video.
Because you just thought, who cares?
Yeah. What's the point? I bet there's loads of people doing this. But there's like, what's that thing about? There's only like about your perspective. No one else will ever. What's it?
No, go on. You can do it.
There's only
you.
one perspective of yours in the universe. I can't remember the actual wording of it, but do you know what I mean? Like,
no, I get you.
Like, all right, there might be two people making home studios, but they're going to be completely different in their own ways. Do you know what I mean? So, like, still take a photo of yours and put it up on the online and talk to people about it and all that kind of stuff. That was a really Weird sentence.
I think
Sorry,
what we're
guys.
trying to say in the most roundabout way ever. Bloody hell, it's 11 o'clock at night. What we're trying to say is that don't just presume that what you're doing, no one will care, because someone will care. Anyway, you heard it here first.
Well,
Next question, quick.
it's great to watch you from a distance, and this has happened just because of that thank you video that you sent me, really. But and little things like that. Just be appreciative of everything. Work as hard as you can. Keep living the dream, guys. And I really appreciate your time joining me for this podcast this evening. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the world just before we crack on with our lives?
Blank's a lot taller than he looks in the photos.
Oh, we absolutely
Right.
is.
He's massive.
Yeah, and Ben is a lot older than he looks in the
Is he?
photos.
60 summit?
Pardon?
Is he like 60 summit?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
like, whoa, like, dude, compliment him much.
Fair enough.
Like, he literally invented the world. Like, that's how long he's been around. And then, Blank loves his IPAs, doesn't he?
He
And
does.
Yeah.
That makes him sound like he's got a problem. He doesn't.
In the morning.
This is an intervention. This entire thing was staged. Blank would
Yes.
help.
Well, Ducky, Imogen, really appreciate your time today, and just keep doing what you're doing, because I don't think it's possible for you to do anymore. Stop stressing yourself out about it. You're working as hard as what anybody can do. Take it easy on yourselves, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I could tell that it worries you a little bit that you're not playing arenas yet.
I
One
literally
day-
will do a 12-hour day, won't I? And then I'll lie down and go, I've done fuck all today. And it's such a mental thing of like always feeling like I've not done enough.
Yeah,
No matter how
like we've
much I
done a
do.
full recording today, full day recording, haven't we? And then we're going to go do some tidying in the other room as well.
Take it easy, guys, and look after yourselves. I'm going to enjoy following you into the new year next year, and I'm excited to see what you've got coming up. And I encourage everybody else. I'll put a link to your socials on this podcast, so just get involved with the band, and I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Nice one. Cheers, guys. Thank you.